Our next speaker is Angela Clayton-Lea, our CEO, who will continue the theme of optimization and investigator-initiated trials and their impact from this morning's session.
Thank you. Big congrats, Ashley. That's definitely worse than me being 2 weeks into the coup role in Tala and an unannounced HICWA inspection of ED. So well done to the team for getting through that. I take it that's not why John Kelly moved on, because he was giving up his office. Okay. Before I launch into this, I just really want to go back a little bit to the panel, and just if anybody hasn't had the opportunity to see the fantastic trailer that we released during the week through Claire Hopkins on the life of a trial. Jed Van der Poel, who's with us today, very kindly gave up a lot of his time to help make that video, along with our team and the terrific team in the matter. So it's a great trailer. The video in itself, I'm really looking forward to seeing. And we're also launching a Tell Your Story video to try to encourage more people to participate, not only in PPI, but to also engage with telling, coming forward about their experience of having cancer and their time on a trial. So with that, I'm going to very briefly, because I know we're running behind, go through cost savings at sites, a brief update. So as many of you will know, we launched our Cancer Trials report last year in November on the value of cancer trials. And we had Seamus Cotter making the point that, it's frustrating that the fact of cases like mine, the proven benefits of trials are not enough to make the case for government action alone. And we were also making the point that, we need to communicate our true value. We have to work collectively to make the strongest case to support increased funding, investment, and so on, and sustain this approach, not just as a single outcome, but year on year into the future. So we have, as you may know, in Cancer Trials Ireland, we never rest on our laurels. It's never like one and done. So we want this highlighting the value of trials to be an ongoing endeavour. So we've been working with sites around the country, and you're all familiar with the 19 sites that we work with around Ireland, to try to encourage sites to provide some information on their lived cost savings in relation to research on their site. So the estimated savings, what we did was we looked at Q4, and this is a dip in the ocean. We know that there's more data forthcoming, but you can see just there from Q4, treatment cost savings alone were over 250,000. We've been getting great data. Thank you so much to everyone who's contributing in terms of Q1, and this is ongoing. This is not our final figure by any means, but you can see there's a direct saving of 1.3 million in 1 quarter of the year. So if you extrapolate that, and we think that this is possibly maybe less than 2/3 of the actual data, we're looking at huge savings every year. So one site alone highlighted the potential savings of 1.62 million to that site annually if it could open 4 trials. But a little bit like the point Benjamin was making earlier in relation to optimization, de-escalation trials, you need the funding up front. So the logjam on that particular site is that they simply don't have a research pharmacist, which would, cost average salary about 90,000, potentially save 1.6. It just makes no sense at all. Another site estimates values of experimental IMP. So this is the inward investment of 1.136 million between September last year and April gone. And another site showed combined savings and inward investment to the value of 577,000 from October to March. And yet another one there, 299. So you can see that there's huge savings ongoing. The challenge is, of course, that it's a different landscape depending if you're a voluntary hospital, where you have autonomy over your budget. Any savings generated can be reinvested within the hospital, whereas if you're a HSE hospital, and it's extremely difficult to get this value recognised at corporate level in HSE hospitals, simply because any savings at the end of the year just become reabsorbed into the HSE. So this is our challenge, to really fight for that value. So what we will be doing is we'll be publishing our follow-up report late October, early November. We're looking at a longer window of cost savings at site, with even more sites involved than the initial sample that we took for last year's report. We are forward-looking, and we want to identify trials that Ireland could and should open, and really highlight the financial loss of not opening them. We will be benchmarking in terms of public attitudes to trials. We don't need to tell anybody in the room that you cannot put a value on a patient's life, patient's quality of life. So we really need to, unfortunately, use the hard data of actual financial cost savings to drill this message home. But we are engaging in a deep dive on patient perceptions, as well in relation to the myths associated with trials, to again increase awareness. So advocacy is ongoing, and we're working hand in glove, thankfully, with our partner, the Irish Cancer Society, in relation to this. We are all familiar with the NC-TOG recommendations that were published, and as I said, we have our value of cancer trials that we shared with the Minister. We did have the opportunity, myself and Veronica McInerney, who's here with us today, to present to a joint Oireachtas committee on further and higher education, research, innovation and science in March. The committee were very open to what we had to say. We were really talking about the value of research and really the need to provide that ring-fenced whole-time equivalent for across HSE hospitals, and also to really try to convert specified purpose contracts to permanent posts for research staff around the country. CTAC is in the process of being formed. We are strongly hopeful that Cancer Trials Ireland will have a seat at that table. Both Seamus and I put in an application. We won't fall out if one or the other gets it, but we are hoping that we will have representation. And of course, very importantly, this year we have the life sciences strategy that's in development. Both Seamus and I had the opportunity to attend a Department of Health forum on that, and give our voice, give our opinion on various elements of that. And of course, the Biotech Act, which any of you who joined our stakeholder meeting in March would have heard John O'Neill from the Department of Health speak about. So we're really growing that collaboration with the Irish Cancer Society advocacy team, and I'd like to thank you all very much for your contribution to our cost savings as the year goes on. Thank you.